Hey there, home theater fans. I'm Todd Anderson with avnirvana.com, and I'm here at ISE 2025 with Ben Yeh of Kordz. How's it going, Ben?
Very, very good. It's been a busy show.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I know. Well, you still have a lot of folks visiting your booth.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot more quiet today, but it didn't. It's still, people are still coming. Yeah, so that's great.
That's fantastic. We're really close to winding down here, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Last day. We're here till 4, but I think people will still be streaming around, and we're all good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you're joining us today. I had asked you to come have a chat with us from the manufacturer's perspective, but also to give consumers a little bit of insight into HDMI 2.2, which was announced at CES just about a month ago.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago,
so it's big news.
It is big news. It's the continuation of kind of the general battle between DisplayPort, HDMI, and USB. It's kind of interesting to see where everyone's going, it's going to push the industry ahead. I think for us, we want to think about it in two ways. We want to think about it from the perspective of what we as manufacturers are doing, and then also what it means for consumers, right? So what it means for them to, whether there's content that's going to come around. Don't think there's content. Just to give it a foreshadowing, and then also, what kind of, when are they going to expect to see the product, right?
Right. From the consumer side, it's easy to see how confusing this can be. A lot of folks are confused from HDMI 2.0 to 2.1.
Yeah.
What does that mean in terms of the cabling they need? And there's a lot of mixed messaging out there, but now 2.2 comes into the mix.
Yeah.
Which is going to create even more maybe anxiety for some folks.
Yeah.
But also, what does that mean? So
number one, you don't have to worry about it now. So guys, don't worry about it for now, because it takes a little while from announcement from HDMI to when you guys can actually see product in the market. So right now, the announcement's made. The specification will actually come in about 6 months' time from what HDMI is telling us. And then we're not really expecting to see product out there until about 2026. And that's because there's a lot of testing involved. There's all the manufacturers obviously need to create the products and then send it into the test labs to get them certified. Now, there will be people out there, or there will be certain marketing out there to say, they have product already, HDMI 2.2 capable products, 96 gig products. But as consumers and as people who are in this market, you always want to buy product that is either been certified to be what they call Ultra 96. So Ultra 96 is the certification you want to look for. So either that, or it comes from a manufacturer who has a reputation of doing everything, and it's been tested, it's been verified. And so that's what Kordz is always going to be doing. We're always going to be the ones either with an Ultra 96 certification with us, or we'll have products that has been tested and has verifiable proof that it can support all the features of 96 gigs.
So from the manufacturer side of things, and I know you're heavily involved with the HDMI consortium. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we have association with them. We have individuals who are in the forum with us at all times, who are in the forum, and we do work closely with HDMI to understand what's going on, and also what we can, how to create the products to make that happen.
So what does it mean to you, though, as a manufacturer? What kind of preparation are you doing now, and kind of in the background? I mean, because HDMI 2.1 is still extremely relevant, and some may argue it's not even being used to its full potential. I know Trinov and Storm Audio only recently released their HDMI 2.1 board sets for their high-end and their ultra high-end processors. You and I were just talking a minute ago, a lot of consumer level AVRs don't even have 48 gig chips in their components. So people will look at that. There's a little bit of confusion there, but for you guys, what does it mean? What kind of preparations are you doing?
So I think technology is going to continue to progress, and we're going to continue to see that, over the next 5 years as as this specification becomes relevant because there is actually product out there. But as manufacturers, we need to do a lot of things. I mean, number one, our entire product range actually needs to get updated so that when this thing comes in, we can insert that into. So it's actually a multi-year strategy for us. This year, you'll know we're updating one of our ranges to 48 gig, extending that to 100 meters. But that's actually to get ready for the next step, which is when Ultra 96 comes out. So that's number one. Number two, we're also, like we were saying, we're working really closely with HDMI and with our manufacturing to understand, what actual physical differences needs to be made to the cable in order to achieve Ultra 96. So part of that is the requirement for attenuation is obviously going to be a lot higher, and so therefore the cable needs to be made with more precise engineering, and then also, with more precise manufacturing actually, to ensure that all the twisted pairs are all the pitches are all the same across the whole thing.
Okay.
And then obviously the second thing is, we also need to use better grade copper and also just thicker copper wires, to make sure that we can get the full 96 gig down the
It's a
main.
lot of information flowing through that cable.
Yeah, there is. I mean, internet for us is 100 megabits, right?
Right.
100 megabits is nothing compared to 96 gigs of data going.
It's insane.
It is crazy. Yeah.
Now, in terms of the chips,
Yeah.
are they currently around? Are they in the planning stages?
You mean 96 gig, like AOC?
The chips that will be used with this specification.
Okay, yeah. So source and sync devices, probably not. They're not going to be around for a very long time, I think, because, there's a lot of stuff coming through. On the cabling side, when we look at active optical technologies, there is a lot of similarities between what 96 gig is and what we're using in data centers for 100 gig data uplinks, like I forgot the name, but that kind of stuff, especially in data centers. So we're going to start to see some of that more commercial stuff flow through to kind of the HDMI cabling world, in terms of the underlying technologies, in terms of the way light gets transmitted into electrons and electrons get transmitted into light.
Okay.
So that's what we'll see. But I think from a source end, and let's talk about content for a bit. We're not going to see that content and encoding on that for a very long time.
And where will that content likely be? Video games?
So yeah, we actually think that, my personal opinion is, even right now we're not really seeing 8K resolutions on a large scale, right? But actually what's happening is we're breaking away from the traditional idea that 60 frames per second is what our human eyes can see. We're doing 120, we're doing 240, right? And with the increase in frame rates, you're really doubling the amount of data that's required per second. And so that's really where we're going. We're going for high frame rate.
Interesting. Okay.
We were talking about this yesterday actually as well. 48 gig does 8K, 8K60 or 8K120, but actually that's with display stream compression.
Right.
So with display stream compression, that's a 3-to-1 compression, and it works kind of to the human eye. It's kind of like chroma subsampling, which is a 422 or 420, which downsizes the amount of data that's required to send information properly.
Sure. Yeah.
And so with that, it is visually lossless, but there is still a little bit of loss. So I think what 96 gig sets us up for is true 8K 120 full color Dolby Vision, but fully uncompressed, and get that really crisp home cinema experience.
That should be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be coming around the corner. So
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
Final message to consumers out there. There are people that used their older HDMI cables to achieve compliance with HDMI 2.1.
Yeah.
Some of the more robust older cables
Yes.
were able to work.
Yes.
But that's not going to be the case with the jump from 2.1 to 2.2, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
data.
the data rates are a bit different. As manufacturers, and all manufacturers do this to some extent, there's always a little bit of headroom built into products. And so there are going to be certain situations where these things will still work. And, if you got a cable that works, kudos to you. You hit the silicon jackpot, right?
Right.
But, when you're buying these things, you don't want to buy on, don't want to buy on luck. Your hard-earned dollars, you want to spend them, exactly where, you're going to get the best value out of it. So you always want to buy a certified product or from a, reputable manufacturer, and which is stating that it does a certain thing. So, last message to people is, buy certified products, and you'll get the best experience.
Yeah, don't cheap out because you'll end up paying more in the end.
Exactly,
right?
yeah, that's correct.
Where can people learn about Kordz HDMI cables?
Yeah, so our website is probably the best place to go, so www.kordz.com. If you want to follow us on social media, the handle is Kordz Global, one word. And yeah, we're on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, anything. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll drop a link to your website down in the description, so if anybody wants to go hop over there, they can look down there and find it. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Todd.
Yes, and I hope the rest of the show is painless.
Yeah, my feet.
And you can get, yes, exactly. Everybody's feeling a little bit tired at this point.
Yeah.
But thanks for your time. And folks out there, like, share, subscribe, and then come join us at the Home Theater Forum at avnirvana.com.